In the summer of 2021, Gaby Petito and her fiancé, Brian Laundrie, set out on a cross-country trip across the United States. On social media, their life looked perfect. Two young adventurers traveling the open road in a converted white van. But behind the curated images was a relationship that had already begun to fracture. Gaby was warm-hearted, artistic, and eager to please. Brian was confident, intense, and often controlling. What appeared romantic on camera was, in private, increasingly unstable. Those close to them later described Brian's behavior as possessive and critical. Small disagreements turned into emotional manipulation, subtle remarks that chipped away at Gaby's confidence. As they moved farther west, isolation magnified the tension. The open landscapes of Utah and Wyoming became the backdrop for arguments that never seemed to end. Gaby apologized often. Brian stayed calm and dismissive. The imbalance was clear, even if she couldn't name it. Then came the traffic stop in Moab, Utah. A witness had reported a domestic dispute, and police pulled the van over. Body cam footage shows Gaby crying, trembling, saying she was just stressed. Brian appears composed, polite, almost charming. To viewers who understand narcissistic dynamics, that contrast is familiar. The anxious, self-blaming victim beside a partner who seems perfectly in control. Gaby took responsibility for what happened, as many victims do. She told officers she was the one who'd been mean. They were separated for the night, then allowed to continue their trip. It was a moment when intervention might have changed everything. What followed is well known. Gaby's disappearance, the nationwide search, and the eventual discovery of her body in a remote part of Wyoming. The story captivated millions, but beneath the headlines lay a deeper pattern, the quiet progression of emotional abuse that often goes unnoticed until it turns into tragedy. Narcissistic partners don't always harm through violence. Their power lies in control, in rewriting reality so that their victim begins to question their own feelings. Over time, love becomes fear, and the person they once were begins to disappear. Around Gaby's case, observers noted echoes of the same behavior in broader contexts. Families and communities that value appearances over empathy. In relationships marked by narcissism, this silence enables harm. It teaches victims to minimize pain, and it teaches abusers that image matters more than accountability. Gaby's story reminds us that control can look like care, and cruelty can sound like calm. It shows how easily emotional manipulation hides behind charm, and how dangerous that disguise can be. The desert where her journey ended has become a symbol, not of mystery but of remembrance. It stands for every voice that was softened to keep the peace, for every smile that masked fear. The desert does not forget. It holds her story quietly as both warning and witness. To understand more about the psychology of narcissism, emotional control, and recovery, visit the YouTube channel Ego and Empathy, a resource dedicated to exploring how narcissistic behavior develops, how it affects relationships, and how survivors can heal. Don't forget to subscribe, please. It would be so helpful.